CARICOM Sister Jamaica. Leading the forefront with the Prime Minister has been the chair of the government's Inter-Ministerial Committee, and that is the Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. So this evening we are joined by the Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs to address you on the steps that have been taken and will be taken to continue the government's efforts to help our CARICOM sister, and he's ably supported by the Minister of Rural and Local Development, Minister Khadija Amin, who is also the chair of the subcommittee of that interministerial committee, and she will also update you on the government's progress as it relates to working with the general public. So, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, let me welcome the Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, the Honorable Sean Sobers, to address you this evening.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out to join us here at the Diplomatic Center. As my colleague within the ministry, Parliamentary Secretary, Minister Morris would have indicated, essentially what would have taken place is under the direction of the Honorable Prime Minister. Since last week, we would have been tracking Hurricane Melissa and its passage and trajectory going to Jamaica, Haiti, and Cuba. Based upon the trajectory and the information coming out from the meteorological centers, the Prime Minister would have indicated that obviously as the hurricane grew in strength and its passage, we would need to form a committee to ensure that we get services out, goods and services to our brothers and sisters and the people and the government of Jamaica in terms of services to assist them during that time. Pursuant to that, on the 27th of October, which is Monday, at the Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, based upon the instruction of the Prime Minister, we would have held a meeting with several different agencies which began the kickoff of the Interministerial Committee. That committee essentially comprises, it is led by the Office of the Prime Minister. As the Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, I chair the committee, the Minister of Finance, the Ministry of Public Administration and Artificial Intelligence, the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services, the Ministry of Health, Land and Legal Affairs, Ministry of Public Utilities, Ministry of Homeland Security, Ministry of Defense, Ministries of Works and Infrastructure, Trade, Investment and Tourism, Transport and Civil Aviation, and also the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government. At that very first meeting, we would have outlined essentially what would be the steps that would be adopted subsequent to the passage of the hurricane. So what would usually happen is that the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, also known as CDEMA, would liaise with our version of that in Trinidad and Tobago, which is the ODPM. And CDEMA would work with Jamaica to prepare a list, a needs list, which they would forward to the ODPM, and it would be passed on to the varying ministries as Interministerial Committee. The needs list would be updated based upon needs being filled or needs being a greater request for certain items on the listing. Subsequent to that, we had discussions with respect to how we would mobilize this entire effort and what would be our relationship with corporate and public institutions and their donations. And so, pursuant to that, we identified specific locations for the corporate entities to deliver donations within the central region, specifically in the port of Point Lisas, because they would assist with respect to shipping. And we also liaised with the corporate sector as it pertains to logistics. The TTDF and the ODPM would have provided assistance in terms of offloading cargo. And today, coming out of Monday, we had a meeting on Tuesday again with the Honorable Prime Minister and that Interministerial Committee. And then within 24 hours at Point Lisas, we would have had several members, corporate entities that began to send goods down to Point Lisas. Minister Amin would share some more information on that. The Prime Minister toured the facility today And upon her arrival, well, prior to her arrival, we had already loaded basically 6 containers, which will join 2 more that would leave the port this evening on its way for its first sailing to Jamaica. And we expect those goods to arrive in Jamaica on Sunday. I have been in constant communication with the Minister of Foreign and Trade in Jamaica, Minister Camilla Johnson, and also Minister Dana Dixon, who is the Minister of Education and Information, who are also part of a ministerial team, interministerial team mirroring what we are doing here in Trinidad, obviously on the ground in Jamaica. And we have been liaising to ensure that no efforts are being duplicated as we try to get these goods out to the people and the government of Jamaica. We understand, based upon the reports coming out of Jamaica, that the situation in certain parts of the island is extremely bad. And our prayers go out to the people of Jamaica. Our Prime Minister has also been in constant contact with Prime Minister Holness. And to that point, Lisa, and I want to echo what she indicated. She wanted to congratulate Prime Minister Holness for his leadership role and capability during this particular period in Jamaica, and underscored the fact that Trinidad and Tobago will stand shoulder to shoulder with Jamaica to ensure that as much as we are asked, we will provide. And we intend to continue these efforts as long as Jamaica requires it. If I'm not mistaken, we've also liaised with some aspects of Southcom so that they will provide us with some assistance to move personnel to Jamaica as well too, and heavy equipment as required, such as generators and water tanks, and an advanced team from ODPM and the TTDF would be leaving to go to Jamaica, I believe, on Saturday morning. So those are some of the efforts. In short, I mean, we would have been down ensuring that the warehouses were properly stocked, working alongside our corporate partners, Corporate Trinidad and Tobago, until maybe around minutes to 12, after 12 last night, an effort that began sometime after 8 o'clock on Wednesday morning. And we are quite happy with the progress that we've made as a government. The Prime Minister was also very pleased, and in terms of our conversations with the High Commission here for Jamaica locally, and with the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Minister of Education and Information in Jamaica, they're also very pleased with the efforts that Trinidad and Tobago has adopted in furtherance of these relief efforts. And so I will now hand over to Minister Amin, who will give a breakdown as to some more information that the public can avail itself of if they want to also participate and get involved in the relief efforts and exercises that the government is currently spearheading.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government is one of the ministries on this interministerial committee formed by Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar to coordinate relief efforts in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, and in particular for Jamaica, Cuba, and Haiti. In furtherance of ensuring that supplies reach to our brothers and sisters in those areas devastated by this hurricane, we have made several collection points available to members of the public, NGOs, and civil organizations, and they are invited to drop off relief items and supplies at any of the 14 municipal corporations within Trinidad. We have provided a list of the offices of the municipal corporations to make it easier for people in all parts of the country to contribute. In some regional corporations, councillors have indicated that they will also use their offices as collection points and take it to the regional corporation. These items will then be collected, packaged, and shipped to Jamaica. Our disaster management units have provided lists of the items, and I will share with you some categories of items that we have listed to make it easier for the public and those who want to give. You can contribute hygiene products, personal health supplies, household and safety essentials, consumables, food, clothing and textiles, including blankets, but we ask that we do not provide used clothing at this time. We also have we try to make it easy for persons to drop off their items and for the regional corporation and the disaster management units to keep account of what comes in. In addition to this, I must say a huge thank you to Corporate Trinidad and Tobago. The Prime Minister's efforts has coordinated the private sector through the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association, who have been mobilizing donations from manufacturers within this country who have already been loading pallets of goods produced in Trinidad, manufactured in Trinidad, to be shipped to Jamaica, and several containers have been filled. The business chambers, business owners who are part of those chambers, the chambers have been coordinating in conjunction with the government's effort to donate items. We also have the Supermarkets Association, who has been pooling together foodstuff in a way that is easy to ship in terms of on the pallet and ready to go. We also have hardwares that have coordinated, and of course most of them will be supplying from their stock. We also have entities, especially the bigger companies, who already ship to Jamaica and who have stock either on the way or in storage in Jamaica, who have indicated that they will make this available as part of Trinidad and Tobago's donation towards the effort. So some goods that is already in Trinidad through the TTMA and businesses in Trinidad will be made available to the Jamaica relief efforts, the Jamaican Authority, and that will also be part of Trinidad and Tobago's contribution. A lot of people have been asking in terms of cash donations. We have an account number at FCB, which I will share with you, and sometimes it's very practical to put the cash towards purchasing items in bulk where you can get a lower price. So rather than one person go to buy items retail, you can sometimes get more value for money. The TTMA has indicated a willingness to facilitate getting items at below cost. They also have an account that they have indicated that they have over $100,000 available to add to the supplies. But all citizens, entities, NGOs, and businesses can also make cash donations to the First Citizens Bank, Trinidad and Tobago National Disaster Relief Fund, and the account number is 315-4684. Donations can be made at any branch of FCB, but it can also be online as well. You can do an online transfer. And of course, these funds will be utilized to make more supplies available. As the Minister of Foreign Affairs indicated, while Jamaica's ODP-EM has sent us a list of items, when they begin their assessment in the aftermath, this list will be updated. And when they have a better appreciation of the damage, the need, the human situation, they will advise us if they need more things. We in Trinidad have had our share of disasters, and from my own experience, I know they will have to consider things like field medical tents, getting supplies to areas that may not have access, road access, where communications have fallen down. And while we are hoping for the best, we must prepare for the worst. And so when it comes to the aftermath, they will do their assessment of infrastructural damage, including damage to roadway that may hinder the delivery of relief items, damage to public utilities such as water, electricity, particularly where electricity lines being down can pose a danger to the public, damage to communication infrastructure that may leave people with a sense of anxiety because they cannot be in contact with those in affected areas. Even now in Trinidad and Tobago, there are those with relatives in Jamaica and they have not had communication with them. We know that there is naturally a sense of unease. However, based on our relationship with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign and CARICOM Affairs in Trinidad and Tobago, Honorable Sean Sobers, and his counterpart in Jamaica, we have many open lines of communication. And thus far, we have been getting by very well, and I expect that this will continue to reap reward in the aftermath. So with that, I thank you, and I'm open to questions.
Thank you very much, Minister Amin and Mr. Sobers. We now have members of the media to ask your questions. All right, so I think prior.
Good afternoon, Prior Bihari. You hear me right?
Yeah.
Before I begin, there are two journalists outside from AFP Wire Service, and they've been barred from coming to this press conference. Is there any reason why?
Firstly, I don't think anybody will be barred because we are not aware of the situation. Secondly, this is the diplomatic center prior, right, and people, once they provide their credentials, they will be allowed in. And thirdly, prior, thirdly, let me answer. Just to put to rest any insinuation that we are running from international media, this government in the past week has subjected itself to international media. At Minister Sobers' press conference at his office on Sunday, Jim from Bloomberg was there in his conference room. In the parliament, in front of the parliament, international journalists were there and they spoke to us. So the government is not running, if you would like to say, from international. Let me just beat that on one time. This is the diplomatic center. It's not a open public forum, but once any person provides credentials, the security will let them in. So I am not sure what you're speaking about. So, well, prior, again, that is an issue outside. So we will look into that. So let's get back to the matter at hand. For those valued members of all media who are here right now.
My first question for you, the USS Gravely left today. Are we...
Contact with the ambassador.
And are we going to talk to them in terms of dragon gas, in terms of what is happening in Venezuela when they have declared the Prime Minister persona non grata?
There are several discussions that are engaging both sides at this point in time.
What about dragon gas? Is that one of it?
You would need to refer that to the Minister of Energy.
And in terms of Trinidad and Tobago going forward, are we still friends with Venezuela?
We have an embassy in Caracas. Venezuela has an embassy in Port of Spain. There's nothing to suggest that there's anything otherwise than diplomatic relations continuing between both countries.
Good afternoon. You've said that on Saturday there will be some personnel from the TTDF and others who might